I'm on a journey to get better, and I want to do it with you. And I'm not just focusing on physical health, I'm focusing on everything: emotional wellness, spirituality, finances, relationships, and so much more. Every week, it will be my personal goal to bring us, the world's leading healers, experts, and game changers, to share groundbreaking secrets and tips to getting better in all areas of life. Getting better isn't easy, but it's a whole lot easier when we can do it together. Welcome to Better Together with me, Maria Menounos.
Hello, everybody. Happy Monday. I am coming to you live from Miami. I'm in my friend's car. I just decided that I needed to be here with you today, even though Kevin, my dear husband, that I don't know if he even remembers what I look like anymore because I've been on a world tour.
Well, I do.
Going to be joining and
I do
helping
know
me.
what you look like because I see all your wonderful stories.
Oh, thank you, Boo. Thank you, Boo. I'm glad you've been following along. Scam, it's been a crazy 2 weeks, but I am in Miami right now. I'm going to be getting on a plane soon back to Los Angeles. It has been a wild week. I was in New Orleans for Real Screen announcing my new project with Mark Burnett and Full Picture. And then I went from there to Super Bowl to host and produce the Fast 9 trailer launch celebration party with the cast of Fast and Furious. We killed that. And then from there, we did the normal Super Bowl rounds. And as you know, Kev, I've been at the Super Bowl since, was it 2001 the Patriots won their first Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Yeah, since 2001.
Wow.
I've been to every Super Bowl except for one. And so this was yet another one. And my former assistant, Meredith, has been coming with me, I think, for like 15 years or something crazy. And so we have been kind of in Super Bowl mode, which is a very unique experience. And I feel really lucky that I get to do this because at this point, you know, we get to see so many friends we've made over the years and have fun. And, you know, yesterday, for example, Fox hooked us up with tickets. So we went to the Super Bowl courtesy of Fox and was with, you know, all of my friends and executives that I do New Year's Eve with, along with Jamie Foxx and Ken Jeong and some other amazing people in the suite. And we had a lot of fun. I have a fun video I'm going to post on Insta Stories where I was asking everyone their favorite TV stars, and Robin Thicke had a really special something to say that I thought was really cute and just beautiful. So we're going to post that in a little bit. But I'm heading in to eat my first meal of the day. So I'm not going to be on long. But what we're going to do today on the show is Kevin is going to help us show you what you are missing if you haven't joined Patreon. Now, we're trying to make this show ad-free, and it is our goal to make it ad-free, and so we need your support to be able to do that. Join us at Patreon. We do an after show. We do an extra episode a week. And this week, because I was traveling, Kevin helped me and did an amazing episode that we are going to share with you all today so you can see what you are missing. And hopefully you can join us and support us. We work so hard on this show and we love all of you. And I've been meeting so many of you here in Miami and telling me how much you love the show. And it really means so much to me. So if you haven't signed up, click in the link in the summary and join in. Now, Kev, you can give everybody a little taste of what you guys are talking about in this episode.
Well, I just realized, Mary, I have my Johnny Cash glasses on that you like to make fun of me for, so I'm going to take those off right now.
Yeah, Kev is in a serious mood.
Yeah, we you know, a lot of people out there, I know, Maria, come up to you, and at least they come up to me because if they can't get to you, and they'll say, yes, obviously I want help breaking into show business, but a lot of them, you know, it's like, I want help, I want to start a juice business, or I want to work from home, or I have all these dreams that I feel like have gotten away from me and that I want to readdress. And I feel like this is a time in our country and just where more and more people are feeling that that they missed the mark somewhere and that something's missing. You know, when we talk about on the Patreon show, we go over how, you know, the 12 to 17-year-olds now that say, oh, I want to be an actor or I want to open my own business or whatever. You know, parents now, when they tell me about their kids doing this, they're bragging about it. You know, we were the oddballs, Maria, when we were like that. It was like, oh, no, you're not.
Yep.
What are you talking about? But today it's like, Maria, I would say over 50% of my friends from college kids are in the arts. And it's like nothing to them. I mean, we were supposed to have a board meeting for my college. And it was like, oh, my son has his audition for Juilliard. And it's like, so it's different now. However, with the 23 to 60, it's like, wait, you know, we weren't allowed to be like that, but I want to be like that. I'm 30, I'm 35, I'm 40, or I'm 50, or I'm 55, or I'm 60 even, and I'm still young and I have all this energy. And, you know, I listened to society, I went and got married, or whatever it was. I wanted to please my parents, or, you know, and now I want to do something for me. So we kind of address that and go through the steps, you know, the actual steps to take to make it happen, to you know, start your dream, open your business, whatever it is it's going to be. And I think it's very timely, at least from the people I'm talking to.
Yeah, it's like the best way. I've never seen someone describe how to achieve your goals and with actionable steps like that. Kevin killed it. I'm really excited for our listeners to hear it.
Well, that's why I wanted to use it today, because you guys are raving stuff about it. And so I know this is like the biggest thing for people is, you know, whether it's career, love, or weight loss, those are really like the biggest ticket items for people. So I'm excited to listen to it as a fan as well, Boo.
No,
and
come
I'm
on.
excited to get back home and see you guys. I miss you.
We miss you too.
Yeah, seriously.
And so, yeah.
Here's
so I'm
the thing.
going to jump off, and I hope you guys all enjoy this episode with the greatest career coach I know, Kevin Undergaro.
All right, well, honey, get home safe. We miss you.
All
And
right,
by the
love
way,
you guys.
bring
Bye.
that smile home with you and keep it.
I am.
All right, honey.
Okay, bye.
Bye. That's her way of getting rid of me.
Okay.
She's had an amazing time.
She's been killing it, Kev.
Yeah.
She looks incredible. She looks so happy. Everyone around her seems so happy.
I think, you know, it's funny. Everyone's listening to this podcast, but I want you all to know that Maria hosting this, okay, I'm seeing growth in you, Steph. I'm seeing a tremendous growth in Stephen. Stephen and Maria are born on June 8th. And so now I affectionately go, okay, that's a June 8th thing.
Yeah.
That's a June 8th decision when I see some of those quirks come out. But the incredible growth that Maria is experiencing from doing this show. So she, remember, gets the transfer of energy from the people she's interviewing.
Yeah.
And they're all helping her. And then, you know, you guys, when you reach out to Maria, you're helping Maria as well. So that's why, you know, it's really helping her business. And I think, you know, it's funny. I almost feel like there needs to be a Better Together handbook for different ailments, because there's certain one of your experts that will be good for certain things, and there's certain others that I think are good for other things. You know, I think that, you know, because I was trying to think of who are the key ones that have really are unlocking Maria, and there's actually quite a few. You know, it's funny. There's somebody from home that's in terrible crisis right now, you know, almost catatonic, so depressed, I mean, and suicidal. And it's a friend's husband, and I'm going to be, you know, referring some of the people I've done this show, you know, to do FaceTime sessions to kind of unlock that. But I can think of one specific person. I know the person, the EMDR.
Oh, yeah, Tammy Valicenti.
Yeah, like she's really good at that, you know, unlocking when someone's really at that point. But yeah, you guys have so many amazing people, and that's why you just hear it in her voice. And she's like, you know, she did things at this Super Bowl weekend that she's never done before. You know, approaching people, being much more confident, much more positive. You know, she always was positive, and you would think she was confident with, I think, who she was, but not in the respect that she might lean, if she needed help on a business or whatever, she would never ask. But now she'd say, hey, this is what I'm doing. This is why I'll be good for it.
She's like reprogramming herself to be her full self.
It's like, so yeah, by shedding all the toxicity and, you know, bringing more like-minded people around and like working with the people she's working with, it's something. And now, you know, you heard me say, bring your smile back, because my concern is now it's not, well, this is for life for everybody. It's not always going to be Super Bowl stuff. It's not always, I think one of the reasons why I see a lot of people get depressed is that they're trained, we've trained you guys now from 0 to 18 for every day to be senior prom and every other day to be soccer. You know what I mean? Like, so people don't realize that, like, you know, there are going to be challenges in life, and that's life. You know, our parents are going to get old. They're going to get sick. You know, like, we want to take care of them, and we need to. And it shouldn't be the other way around, right? Like, your parents shouldn't be taking, God forbid, losing you, Steph.
Yeah.
That's not fair. That's not what they want.
No.
So, you know, we feel even worse for those poor people, you know, like those families that went down with Kobe. I mean, you know.
I mean, that's what makes it so horrifying.
But all the more reason for us to be grateful for what we have. 100%. So with Maria, you know, it's not always going to be Super Bowl. And so now what I want is her to, you know, find a way to maintain that. I mean, like, we have one, Willie and Max, they like are fighting all the time, but they're play fighting, but they're barking loud. It's so stressful. And then, you know, Lisa, Maria's mother, you know, good days and bad days, you know, and that's not going to go away. So I really am like, Maria, just, you know, whatever energy you have, like, find a way to keep that when you come home here, because it's because life is going to happen. So it's not always going to be Super Bowl. It's not always going to be prom, and it's not always going to be soccer practice. So we talk about that on the Patreon, by the way. If you have children and you're opening a business and you have a dream, we talk about on this upcoming episode, even how to deal with that, how to have that work for you as well, not against you, but for you.
You did a really good job of hitting kind of any sort of life phase with steps. So I'm really excited to get into it.
I hope it resonates. It was Patreon, so it was a little loose. But it gives you an idea of what we're doing on the Patreon. So if you guys do want to subscribe, and listen, there's more content with Patreon, but also it's just a nice way to help support the show and grow this little community of people who want to help each other get better, which I think is, God, that's so timely, right?
It's actually the best thing ever, Kev.
Oh, boy, it makes me breathe. Anyway, okay, so now are we out now?
Yeah, we're out.
Okay, I hope you guys enjoy.
Without further ado, the Hollywood career coach himself, CCO of AfterBuzz TV, director, writer, and Maria's hubby, Kevin Undergaro. What's up, and welcome to our Patreon episode. It is Steph Sabra and Kevin Undergaro here to join us today. Kev, thanks for joining us again.
Well, thank you for having me. Always a pleasure.
Well, we have a really exciting episode, everyone. Our quote of the day is from Nelson Mandela: "I never lose, I only learn." And I think that applies to what Kevin is going to teach us today.
Wow.
Not a good one, Kev?
Yeah, it really is. I always subscribe to a quote from an old professional wrestler: "You never lose unless you quit." Then you're always in the game.
Yeah.
But I love this. I think this is the 102 version of that quote. It's the more evolved version.
Yeah.
You know?
It's the better together version.
Yeah. Yeah, well, you know, it's like in this 20th century, it just was, unfortunately, business was more zero-sum gain. Mm-hmm. You know, it really was just, you don't win unless you're hurt. You crush the other side. And, you know, your generation, you know, one of the redeeming things about your generation is you guys are like, no, that's just messed up. And if that's how you're going to play, then we're not playing.
Yeah.
You know, we're going to just, whatever. We'll just live in apartments the rest of our life. And who cares? You know what I mean? Like, we don't want it that bad. And it's not saying it's great. I mean, it just needs to be some, you know, I feel like that sentiment is just so good, because I think the best form of government that man has known, at least modern man, is capitalism.
Yeah.
However, there does need to be something beyond that. You know, if it's capitalism versus communism, you know, versus socialism, you know, capitalism is the one that has been the one that has worked the best, you know. So,
Yeah.
but the next evolution is, you know, is being more socially aware, socially conscious, considering other human beings, maybe, maybe not having to make 200 million, maybe just settling on 20 million.
Maybe, maybe just that. That would be really hard to do, Kev.
Yeah, well, again, I think I hope your generation comes up and starts realizing, like, hey, what are we here for? We're here for, we're here for more than that. And I'll just tell you, as somebody who I've said that you've heard me say this before, Steph, who's had the fortune and misfortune, but mostly fortune of being with several people on their deathbeds. And 100% of the time, Steph, it was all about the things that they did, the good deeds they did. That's all they wanted to talk about. That's what they were proud of. And that's all that mattered. It never heard like, hey, I might have heard like, hey, I started with nothing and I ended up well, but I never heard anyone be like, and I have like this much in the bank and I did this, and it's always like, this one time this family had nothing and blank. This other time, my landlord, his kids, just wanted his money, and my wife and I took him to dinner. We took care of him. I mean, I can't tell you how many stories I heard from people on their deathbeds, and the people I'm talking about, a lot of them were very successful, but it was never about that. It was always about the microtransactions they did with other human beings.
Yeah.
So we know that that's how it's going to go. So why not, why not embrace it now? Mm-hmm. A little bit more.
Yeah. I also feel like that ties into exactly what you've been wanting to talk about, and dreams dying, because I feel like that's the second regret, is not treating the ones you love well, but also not investing or achieving your dreams for some reason.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. Let's back up. I don't think a lot of people regret not treating the ones they love well. It's just that they didn't appreciate that they did treat them well and pat themselves on the back for that.
Yeah.
Instead, it was, I got screwed over in money, or I never was rich, or I never had this, or I failed at that. I have a friend now, she's a single mom, and I just recently met her daughter, and the daughter was, amazing, brilliant, and smart, and hardworking and competitive, and this kid's gonna go out and just crush. And every time that I talk to this one friend, it's always about, how things didn't go her way in life, or she didn't succeed here, or she didn't succeed there, or she struggles in her business, and I'm like, no, you did it. You found a way with no money and a total deadbeat piece of crap husband to raise 3 daughters who she found a way to keep them in a really nice community. So maybe they were the poor ones in the nice community, but guess what? They're around successful people and other successful parents, and whatever she did at home, she did a magnificent job as a parent. And it's like, so it's taking that time to be, hey, no, that's where I succeeded.
Yeah.
I succeeded at that. And as I said to my friend, I go, and when the youngest is in college or just getting out, then it's like, okay, what's next for you? Now you'll be able to put all that time into a business or something else, but you'll stop looking at it. That's what I mean, is people in life look at, what they don't have. And if from Maria's show, then that's what you're going to get back in life. You're only going to get back what you don't have.
Yeah.
Only to be at the end to be embracing the good things that you did do. So a little more focus on doing those good things, and then focus on appreciating that and appreciating your success at doing that. And Nelson Mandela's quote, you're really not losing because you're learning.
Yeah.
And you take that learning and you keep going. And then Maria uses the Rocky line, keep moving forward. And so if you keep moving forward and know that you're learning with every loss, you're going to be great. But the second part is when dreams are not fulfilled. And we're seeing that more and more with middle-aged people. I think, you see it a lot with even scripted shows.
Yeah.
I think I go back to Breaking Bad, and I think, many reasons that appeal to people, but at the core, the character of Walter White was a chemistry teacher. He didn't have a lot of money, and he recently impregnated his wife. They were an older couple. Their first son was physically handicapped. Who knows if it was not even a result of the character being exposed to chemicals as a chemist. So this character had every reason to feel unfulfilled because he was a brilliant, brilliant mind. And yet he was he was a chemistry teacher. And his friends that he went to school with all became billionaires, starting these giant chemical companies. And he was so bitter, and that's when he started selling drugs and fighting back. And I think the appeal was that a lot of people, into their late 30s, to their early 50s, feel as though, hey, for whatever reason, I followed society's norms. I either, did what my parents wanted, what society wanted. I got married, or I just got the job with benefits, or I never felt I could take the time to say, hey, this is what I love, and I'm going to do it. And so now I think that's why you see, a lot of people, getting into affairs and things like that on Facebook. I just think they want to escape because they feel trapped in a life that now they're looking back and saying, hey, wait, I didn't dream. I think that your generation coming up, Steph, is taught to dream. And I think especially younger than you, when we think of the 13 to 20 years now, I think the world's their oyster. I think they're like, whatever you want to do. Now, I will tell you, Steph, 2 out of every 3 of which this is also frightening. 2 out of every 3 of the parents I talk to from friends.
Yeah.
There's kids who want to be involved in show business. Or like it's YouTube or it's something in the arts, and the parents aren't freaking out. Like, oh, this one wants to do this. He's going to Juilliard. This one is studying and they don't freak out. Whereas forget it. My parents did freak out. They stopped talking to me for a year because my decision. Maria, you guys all know Maria's story. Same thing.
Yeah.
So, but that's what we're seeing is a lot of people that are feeling unfulfilled in their dreams. And I don't. There are, of course, things in life more tragic, but for me, it's really hits home for me, and it really makes me sad when somebody has a dream and they were not able to fulfill it. And I'm super empathetic because I came out of a household that was like, you need to be a doctor or lawyer or business person or you're a failure, and it was. Again, I'm blessed that I had that. Right? That I had parents who were, helping me with college so I'm not criticizing them. But I understand when you grow up in an environment where you're kind of the odd one and you have a dream and, you're not getting support from your family. And then I also understand having to kind of go out and grind out on your own to go have to work in the carnival business like I did, working 90, 100. One year I averaged, my average hours for the 7 or 8 months we did the carnival thing was 111 hours. And I still have my time book a week. And it was brutal. It was sleeping under trucks. It was like, but that's what I had to do to make it in my career. So I understand it. I had to go through sleeping in my car. I had to go through, other really dark stuff I can't even talk about, not because I just don't want to open up any can of worms with things, but death threats, and it just was crazy.
All in the pursuit.
Yeah, basically. And so I understand that, if you're a mom, and you've got kids and you have responsibilities or you've got a full-time job or you have a family that's saying you're crazy. I understand having it all stacked against you. And I was just saying this to Maria on the way over here. We were going over notes. And I said, Maria, I know like you're the greatest entertainment journalist of all time.
Yeah.
You've reinvented it.
100%.
You started conversational journalism, which now is YouTube. I mean, but I said, but I think the one sometimes I like to jump in on the show is because I can feel like I can speak more for the 99% than Maria can. because
it was a different type of dream chasing for each of you. There was a different path.
Yeah, well, and she also, listen, with Maria, you're still competing with somebody that was famous and wealthy at 23.
Yeah.
And for me, it was, not that way. Yes, there was some successes in my late 20, probably, like around 30, I was head writer at MTV. That was big for me.
Yeah, it's huge.
But then there was, after that, a complete collapse and, having to move back home, go back, so there's a whole different podcast on, you've made it your dream and now you've fallen and how to get back, because that's kind of what I had to do. And I still am grinding back. I am, at least in my mind. Last like decade or so, it's turned the corner for me. But I do understand that grind, and so I'm super empathetic, as I said, to people that have the big dreams and they're at a cubicle at a desk, or they're in a situation that they're just not happy and they're really disappointed. And I know we were going to go over some of the steps to make that happen.
First question is, just speaking of those moments, Kev, how do you, because I think sometimes people are like, well, it's obviously a sign I'm not following the right path if all this stuff keeps happening. How did you keep assured that that is what you wanted to do, even though bad things were happening along the way?
Well, I think I wouldn't blame the dream on the bad things.
Yeah.
But it might be personal decisions you're making to get to the dream, and that you may have to pivot and adjust. And then also just kind of know that like I wanted to just tell you, I had an Italian blue collar dad. And, I remember when I drove out to LA the first time, had like my $2,000 car all stuffed up with stuff. And he just said, I don't know anything about that business. And like, you're really going out to the unknown. He's like, and I can't help you. He's like, I just know that you're gonna get your balls knocked off. He goes, and then you're gonna find a way to put those balls back on. He goes, and then they're gonna get knocked off again.
Oh my god!
And he's like, and you just have to be ready, to keep putting gathering your balls, putting them back on, and getting back up, and trying. And no truer words were spoken. So, I think that here's the thing, because a dream is a dream. A dream isn't right or wrong stuff.
Yeah.
I've just learned in this last year, so my dream was always writing and shooting.
Directing, yeah.
Writing, directing, and shooting stuff, and I learned that I was born in the late 60s, but then in the 70s, I shot, movies in the 70s. I shot my first film, I think, probably in like 73 with my mom. I animated something, and then I went on to shoot more stuff with, an 8mm camera. And then in the 80s in high school, I shot a lot of fun stuff, and then in college too. And then in the 90s, I shot stuff, and then the 2000s, I shot stuff. And then last decade, that was the first decade that I hadn't written or shot anything.
Wow.
And I entered a massive depression for the 3-year period, and it manifested physically, and I was doing everything I could to fight it. Every therapist, diet, stuff. Like, you were there for the tail end of it, but it was brutal. And my therapist said, you gotta write, just write. And my brain was in the work mode of, well, what am I, right now I've got to focus on broadcasting and AfterBuzz. I have to take care of Maria and the tumors and all this other stuff, and I did. But she said, you got to write. Please write journal entries. And I was like, but they're not going to sell. Like, I'm not going to sell them. She just, trust me, Kevin, just do it. And I did it. And it was hard. And my writing was terrible because I hadn't written in so long.
Yeah.
And then more. And then all of a sudden, the life came back to my body, Steph.
No way.
And it hit me. And now it's like I'm working on this Christmas movie that's I think gonna be huge. Might take like 5 years to make, but I have so much going on. You're around me now, stuff. So you see like so much creativity thing flowing through me, but I feel so much better. I've got this adrenal fatigue, and I've got Hashimoto's. So it's been a challenge physically, but now even physically, I'm getting energy. And a lot of the yogis will tell you this, like, it's food will give you energy, but air, creativity, all that stuff, breathing gives you energy. And I'm experiencing all this. And what I learned was, and I told this to Maria too, and again, when you lose, you learn. Thank you, Nelson Mandela. Through my losing of the last 3 years and hurting, whatever, I'm able to learn and now help other people. Long story short, a writer needs to write, an actor needs to act, a painter needs to paint, a sculptor needs to sculpt, a runner needs to run, a worker needs to work, a business, you know what I mean? So there is no right and wrong in your dream, but if you aren't doing that or filling that cup, that's what happens. You start rotting and dying on the inside, and I'm never letting it happen again. And I'm doing my best to educate Maria on it, so she understands to be empathetic with me, and say, Jennifer Stallone, I'll name drop, and Sly Stallone. She's such a great wife, where she's like, he was really down in the dumps before Rocky Balboa, and she said, you have to work. You're a man. You've got to work. Go, write, do it. And he did, and he did, and he did, and he stayed focused. And a lot of people rejected him to do that script, and and bang, it came through, and he hasn't stopped. So your dream isn't going to be right or wrong. How you get to that dream, those are the things that you're going to be constantly adjusting.
Yeah.
The path to that dream. But I know that you need to honor that dream to make yourself a better mother, a better wife, or a better husband, or a better dad, a better friend. Like it doesn't necessarily take away. It can if you go to that extreme, but that's part of the the balancing act. But I think that's why you see fighting and anger and resentment, and then having to medicate, whether it's through sex or drugs or whatever, is because you're not answering your calling. You're not filling that cup. So does that make sense, Steph?
Yeah, that was the best way to put that. That was amazing. What would you say are the first few steps someone should take to get back on track to getting after their dream? So I
think that the first thing is, first thing is your foundation. Okay, you cannot build a house on sand. You can't succeed at anything if you don't have a strong foundation. I mean, even if it's to fight a brain tumor, you bet your ass I was making sure that house we lived in was optimized for Maria and her mom's recovery, and the house in Connecticut optimized for recovery. I took out 22 truckloads of shit that was hoarded and left on the property. And, you can't get better in that kind of environment. So you can't succeed at anything. Well, you're making it so much harder to succeed when your foundation is weak, and part of a weak foundation is being disorganized and not having everything aligned. So the first step is, all right, I'm going to organize my life. Taking a little step back. Remember what I say about dreams. They're all hard. Okay, all of them. I don't. I have a friend who's trying to start a juice business, and whether it's that or I want to be a movie star. That's why they're dreams. They're hard. They're like, I don't know of any dream that's not hard to attain. So knowing, and I don't even like using the word hard, because that just puts more strain on your brain. But no, it's going to be challenging. Okay. So whatever that you put out to you right now, you have to adapt that mindset. And also, you have to you should adapt the mindset of, if you don't want to pursue that dream, then just don't. Make that decision. Say, I'm not. Okay? And as much as that breaks my heart, because I want to see everyone pursue their dream, it's better to just, rather than be 1 foot in the water and 1 foot out, it's better to just commit and say, I'm not. It's not for me. That maybe that ship sailed. Again, breaks my heart, and now I'm going to be the best parent, the best this, the best coach, whatever it's going to be.
When you told me that made so much sense, because Kev always says limbo is for losers.
Yeah.
So make your decision, because then you will find peace.
You'll find peace.
And then also what you were saying, Kev, before, that you didn't like saying it's harder. it's not that it's necessarily harder. It takes more exertion, but the best things do.
Everything.
It sounds so cliche, but it's true.
It's so true, and you know, and it all it's all so much more enjoyable, you know, when you've worked for it and when you're working for it. It really is, but it is so hard, and I'll tell you, most of us have to commit. We have to commit to our relationships. We have to commit to our parenting. We have to commit to our jobs. You know, we work 3 or 4 hours of our 8-hour shift. And we think we're winning, but really that's when people are miserable because they're not committed. You know, and that's where all the trouble starts. So you have to be fully committed to the stream. And if you can't be fully committed, then don't be half committed. Just say, okay, no, not going to happen in this lifetime. Or maybe it's not going to happen until my oldest is out and about, and then I can go all in. But you have to really make that decision. If you've made the decision now that you want to move forward and you want to pursue this dream, it is about the foundation. So everything you're going to do in your day from the moment you say, I'm going to have this dream, has to somehow serve that dream. Every single thing you do has to somehow serve that dream, with one exception: the health and well-being of your loved ones. We get tumors, we stop. That's it. Okay, I'm out. You know, whatever the case is. Problem is, with a lot of people, is they take health and well-being of loved ones for people that are overly needy, taking advantage of your time. You know, that's not what I'm talking about. I am talking about when someone is in a major crisis. So it could be physical health, could be mental health. And when it comes to me, and in my life, or Maria's, that's it. I stop. We stop and we tend to it. And you'll find that if you have a strong foundation, you can afford to do that. You know, you can continue to run efficiently and tend to those matters if your foundation's strong. So now, knowing that everything we're going to do in our day is going to somehow serve our career, everything, it's not a big deal for our nights and our weekends to start cleaning up. Clean up that environment. Let's clean out the drawers. Let's clean out the closets. Let's do all of those things, okay? If your business is going to require an office, then we make a room into an office. And once again, I'm talking to the 99% here. Maria and I, when we rented our one-bedroom apartment in like a gang-ridden area, it's all we could afford, I took the dining room and made it our office. You know, so, and for some of you, if you're living with your parents, which I think is great, less bills, smart. Okay, then it's going to be that corner of the room with your desk. There's your office. But guess what? There's no piles of clothes around. There's not a lot of clutter in it. It's cleaned up. It's ready to go. And if you have extra money, do not be afraid to invest it in you and yourself. So if it's a matter of having to go to IKEA or get things to organize, whatever, just do it. But get organized, okay? Because you're making I feel like I know I'm being a nerd saying this. I feel like Maria's audience are people that are honest, play by the rules. They're not sleeping with people to make it. They're not cutting throats to make it. So guess what? If that's who you are, which is amazing, your path's going to be a lot harder. So we have to do everything we can on our end, or your end personally, to not make it any harder than it's already going to be. So by having, you know, a messy house or a messy living environment, all that stuff is going to really weigh you down and get in the way of the business, okay? And that's an easy thing you can do.
Yeah.
So that's like first order of business. Here's the other thing. We also need to do that on a personal level, our personal foundations. This is a lot harder for a lot of us. We are so loyal often to the wrong people, believing and having been programmed and even brainwashed to believe that We have to be loyal to people who are toxic, don't have our best interests in mind.
Totally.
Maybe you're jealous. Those people, you have to distance yourself from them. Again, unless they're paying the bills or you're living for free with them, initially, okay, we'll put up with that. Because why? It's going to help the dream. But if being around those people is not helping, is hurting the dream, is preventing the dream, they got to go. And, maybe it's not a matter of a talk where you say we're not going to be friends anymore, but there has to be a separation, at least in your heart and your mind. And then time-wise. But I promise this is, it's you carry all these bodies with you. I did it in my 20s and my 30s, people, and I'm telling you, that's why my first way of trying to make it in business didn't work, because that's what I was doing. You've got to lose those people. And remember, because you have a lofty dream and then you've got the cognons to pursue that dream, then remember, that unsettles people. And you know why it unsettles them, Steph?
Why?
Because deep down, they wish they had the balls to do it. So you're making them have to look in the mirror and feel bad about themselves.
That makes a lot of
yeah, so they feel bad about themselves. But not being evolved enough to own that, then they say to you, no. Yeah, and remember the another Kevism. The person on the bar stool next to you is giving you advice based on one thing: to keep you on that bar stool right the frig next to them.
That's one of my favorite Kevisms.
It's true.
It is so true, Kev.
It's true.
And the moment you told me that, and I hope it's like this for our Patreon members, it clicks. You're like, yeah. Think back about most of the advice for people who don't genuinely want you to. I mean, they might want you to achieve it, but
Here's the thing: at the best, they want to protect you, which is nice. At the best.
Yeah.
But then that means like not seeing you have to fly out of the nest and hurt your wing and all these other things that are going to go with the dream. Or it's you've pushed all of their buttons within themselves on where they failed in life, where they came up short, or they didn't have the guts to pursue a dream. So no, stay here next to me and make me feel good. Don't make me have to look at myself. And I will tell you that is going to go a long way. And then start bringing around people that are of like mind, also are dreamers, also are ass kickers. And you know what? I know so many towns who have women's groups, and the men have always had Rotary Club and those things, but I know there's a women's empowerment group in my hometown of Winchester where these women get together and like they're really smart. And they're all women who either own businesses or trying to start businesses, and they all support one another. And it's terrific.
There's a few organizations like that.
Yeah, and those are and again, even if you can't you try and make those connections and they fail, and maybe you meet some of those people and they're playing like they're supportive, but they're really not, fine. Play through. Keep going. Maria's just now being around like-minded people. Just now, Steph. 20 years later.
Yeah.
With this show and all these great people she's having on and these wonderful fans, she's finally, and guess what? Oh my God, it's like Maria's going next level.
She is. What she's doing right now is you guys can all see on her stories and everything is so cool.
Yeah, but like-minded people and distancing herself from those who are toxic, but then also some of those toxic people, actually, they came around.
Also, and like then keeping her mind on what is really serving her purpose is allowing her to achieve it.
Right.
Just so cool to see.
So, if you start bringing around these like-minded people, start getting around them, okay? Winners. Very important. Even physically, and this is a tough one for me because I spent it's funny. You've heard me talk about Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It's a great book. It's about how this one guy had a poor father, and then his best friend had a rich father, and the rich father also would give him advice. So he compares the two fathers' advice, and the poor father's advice, was well intended, but it was very short-sighted. The rich father's was way big picture, way more geared towards success. But in my first foray, that would be kind of my poor way of doing business. It was just pump my body full of Diet Coke and take literally like a quarter of a jar of peanut butter and put it on a piece of bread. And that was all I need for the day because it was fast. And I was like, I just need fuel. I just need fuel to get me by. And that's what I did. And then, luckily by my Italian genes, I'm still standing and I can still athletically do what I always did. So but I think that's just genetic though. But I will say my adrenals were fried. You can even hear my voice right now because I've been going the 14 hours a day here at AfterBuzz the last like 3 or 4 weeks. But in this phase of the physical foundation, it will come down to, better even eating choices. Lots of water, hot water with lemon, have that in a big canister all day. It's like hot water is free, squeeze a lemon in there. It'll suppress your appetite. It'll keep you hydrated. But, greens, proteins, greens, limit the refined carbs. And again, I'm throwing a lot at you, but I'm telling you, like, you are a soldier that's going out to battle. And you have to be at your best. Okay? And for the physical, even if your wardrobe has to be upgraded to reflect for your dream, then do it. Show people you're a winner and you're worth investing in. But it'll also make you feel better. It will make you feel better. That's why actors sometimes have a hard time getting into character until they put on the outfit and the makeup. It's the same thing with us. So that's a big part of the physical foundation, and the emotional one is the cutting toxic friends and family too, distancing yourself, and then embracing the good ones. Whoever's willing to help you, take it. I just had a young man who's worked for me for a long time. He's fantastic. He's just this kid, Coy Jandro, who's an amazing host, always has a smile, so hardworking, so positive, and he is going up for a huge job with a big A-list celebrity. And only in conversation did I overhear this. And I was like, wait, I know that person. I know his producers. Why didn't you come to me? Oh, I didn't want to ask. So I said, can I call? And yes, and I have, and I wrote them and all that stuff. But the point is, I said to him, I said, listen, you're such an honest and hardworking person. And for us who are honest and hardworking, it's so much harder. So therefore, whatever help we can get, we have to take. Okay? Yeah. And all someone can say is yes or no when you ask them. And just ask politely. And I understand if you can't help me with this, but I was just wondering, do you know anyone? Do you know that this means a lot to me? This is something I've been pursuing. It's a passion, whatever. Do not be afraid to ask,
from the right people that you trust. And
yes. But remember, you're at ground zero. That's another thing. We're taking a ground zero mentality to this, meaning you're going to have to take some risks.
Yeah.
You may have to kiss a bunch of frogs to get to your prince. It's part of it. No one's playing a perfect game in this. No one has. Read biographies of the other people that have made it. And that's another thing, because we'll talk about in your commutes, in your downtime, everything you're doing in your day has to serve your dreams. So now when you're in your car, okay, like for me, I'll call my mom because that's part of my health and well-being of my loved ones. My mother's 78 years old, so every day I call my mom in my commute, and we catch up, and it's good. But even I have migrated away from what I used to do, which was I would either be listening to entertainment and news that was relevant because it would help Maria's career, or educational podcasts. But in that time, you should be listening to self-help podcasts. And in business self-help podcasts to make you strong for this battle, make you wise for this battle, give you all the tips and tricks you need. But then start thinking about, who is the person, male or female, that's doing what you want to do in the best possible way. Because another thing I always say is take Coke, make Pepsi. That's another poor father idea. It's, I need to invent Coke. No, you don't. You don't need to invent AfterBuzz. That was my poor side. I have to build an entire network that does after shows. I have to do after shows. We AfterBuzz came before Talking Dead, and it worked, and it's fine. But the thing is, the smarter play is, oh, well, there's a Cadillac out there. Well, guess what? Why don't we study everything about Cadillac? And by the way, could just do the same thing, and that would be fine. But maybe even study that and say, okay, now how do I do it better? Now that's Lexus. It's exactly what the Japanese did with Cadillac. But you need to do that. So whatever your dream is, try to find some. And by the way, your dream might be more. It might not. If let's say you want to be Oprah meets Madonna. Okay, that's that. You know what I mean? It's not impossible. And by the way, not implausible today, because I know a lot of people who want that. I think Taylor Swift could do that if she wanted to. But you have to look at people who are the closest to what your dream is and study them, study their brands. If they have a podcast, be listening to that every week. You know, if there's bios on them, read those bios, learn. But this is what you need to be doing in your downtime, your hikes. This is what I want you to do.
So good, Kev. I feel like I'm so happy to be a Patreon member. This was such good advice. Seriously, I was writing down the entire time when you were talking, because those are such doable steps to get started.
The other thing the poor person does, and I was one of them, is you're going to try and help other people up along the way while you're doing this. And just want you to know that you're not there yet. I did that. I did it for you. And that's one of the reasons why I stumbled as hard as I did my first go at things. There'll be time for that, okay? Be decent in all of your microtransactions. You know, when someone's doing something nice for you, tell them. You know, if person makes you a great cup of coffee, tell them. There's lots you can do without draining your bandwidth, because right now all of your bandwidth has to go into the stream. And when I say everything goes in the stream, I really want to clarify. If you have a day job that's nothing to do with your dream, well, guess what, bitch? That's paying for your dream. So that is part of your dream. Does that make sense, Stephanie?
Yeah,
if you're going to
makes a
sell
lot of
insurance
sense.
during the day, like, I'm sorry, go and sell insurance. Be great at that. Be efficient with your time in those 8 hours there. But know that is part of your dream. That's paying your bills. That's getting your benefits, okay? If you have children, being a good mom to them, or a good dad. Health and well-being of your loved ones. Sorry. That goes in my formula. Now, as a parent, stop thinking that, and I'm not a parent, so this is really going to probably elicit a lot of anger, but I have 400 kids who work for me, and for the last 15 years, and then I was even a teacher in my earliest 20s. So I've been around kids, and I've seen how parents have been with kids. Your kids do not have to have the 0 to 22 most magical time of their lives. Every day doesn't have to be junior prom, and every other day doesn't have to be soccer practice. Meaning, we did this. That's why we're dealing with so many problems from your generation stuff. It was our fault. Like, we just tried to make everything so amazing and magical, and then you wonder why when the kid gets out at 22 and has to deal with the real world, they're like, I'm out. What? What do you mean? I have to take orders. What do you mean? Like, if a boss is in a bad mood, they're going to raise their voice. Like, what? Like, so bring them in on your dream.
Yeah.
That's not a bad thing. It's a good thing. Teach them. Hey, Mom, we've got goals. And if this hit's going to be great for the whole family. Get them involved. Get them working. Make it fun for them. They can help you. I'm always trying to find, and this is good for you too, in business starting from nothing, always be looking for the win-win. How do I give you something and get something in return? I don't have money to give you right now, but I have X I can give you, and then maybe you can give me that.
Yeah.
So with the kids, it's like, sure, they homework first, absolutely, and they're going to have their activities, but they don't need, it's ridiculous what I see parents now, like it's 7 nights a week, driving them everywhere to all these different things. It's like, and when I tell you 99.5% of the kids aren't going to be professional athletes, they're not even, and then probably 99% of them are not even going to be like you, Steph, and get a college scholarship for their sports. And it's like, wait, you would be so much better teaching them about business or whatever your dream is to pursue and get them involved and make it fun for them. Make them part of the team. You know, they will be learning all of those valuable lessons, and that will serve them in their 20s and their 30s. Now, I've seen family businesses do this to the extreme and break the kids and burn them out. I've seen that too. That's not what I'm saying. But everything you do in your day to serve your dream, with the exception of the health, well-being of your loved ones, but that includes those daily activities. So like being a parent, you can be supporting your dream. Mm-hmm. You can teach them about having goals and long-term goals and how we work together, and then be teaching them about all that stuff is so valuable. Stephanie, am I wrong in this?
No.
Like, how much could you learn? How much did I have to learn because I didn't have this?
Yeah.
Now, I had the father who was like, I'm going to shovel all the snow. I'm going to mow the lawn. I'm going to like work 80 hours a week so you can sit there and watch cable and be happy. Like, he was awesome and well-intended, and I love him for it, and I miss him terribly. But, you know, it would have been far better to be like, hey, come on. Like, let's go. Like, come on, swing a hammer, do that. Yeah, I went and learned it all on my own. Thank God.
Yeah.
But stuff is just incredibly valuable. Now, what I'm putting out there, yes, could lead to some burnout. So when I don't want that either, because that's against the goal. That's against the overall goal, which is to make it a dream. So meditating, you know, finding those times the day where you can meditate or nap, and then finding cheap ways to be entertained, cheap releases. So for me, my dream was to work in Hollywood, as was Maria's, and we didn't have any money. So what we would do is we would binge watch television. And back then there wasn't binge watching like it was today, you know, like, or Turner Classic Movies had all the old films commercial free. And once again, you know, Maria and I would have nights where we'd watch all that stuff. And, you know, those were all cheap ways for us to entertain ourselves, but then we were also learning about our business too, which was nice for us. But find those ways to get your releases and have your fun without taxing your body and taxing your wallet.
Yeah.
Okay, but you do need those times, and I get it, but retrain your brain. So it's not about the expensive dinners or getting drunk. And like the thing is about getting drunk, and as much fun as it is, it really sets you behind. You're not right for a day, maybe even 2 days, but you're definitely not right the day after, so that's a wash. The night you went out, you spent a lot of money. I mean, again, so even the nights out, I'm always trying to blend my personal with my business. So by watching movies and getting that release, it's fantastic because I was learning about writing. I was learning who was relevant in the business, what companies are doing what. For someone else, if it is, you know, finding a night out, well, let's get a night out with those other people who are super successful. So now we're being social, but we're picking their brain and we're learning.
Yes.
Right?
That's my favorite type of going out.
Yeah, absolutely. And remember, like, you know, in life, a smart person will marry an equal. Then you're twice as great as you were, or you marry up. So, you know, with your friends too, have those equals and people greater than you, because that's how you're going to learn. Now, if you want to give back, because I feel like this audience, that's what they want to do. My fear is you're going to give back too soon when you're not ready yet. And it's going to put more weight on you. But what you can do is, if there's someone younger who also has this dream, well, they can come and intern. And your responsibility will be to be teaching them everything and having them learn as they do this, and mentoring them and helping them in other things. And again, there's a win-win. So you are giving back, but then you're getting back too, because you have someone who's helping you.
It's a great point, Kev. You really are the Hollywood career coach.
And then here's the last thing, and of course there's so much more we could go over, but here's the last thing.
Yeah, we'll probably have to do a whole episode.
Well, the last thing is this is the hardest one, but this will really help. Stay present, and like Maria says in this podcast, and let me expand on that. Also, learn to enjoy the journey, because then you never lose unless you quit. So you're part of this ride. You're on the ride. You're never feeling like you failed or you're failing, because you're just doing it. And really watch those words in your brain too, which is probably on the emotional foundation. But really watch those negative words in your brain, like I'm failing. I'm not. It's like I'm not as successful yet as I want to be, or I have other goals I want to achieve, or whatever. But don't use those words, because it's going to weigh you down more. But really stay in the process and learn how to enjoy the process. Hey, we're building something here. Isn't this cool? Try more to enjoy that, because when you're at the end of your life, that's what you're going to look back on and go, wow, that was fun. We were watching Girl Boss this last week. Maria and I went out to support Tiffany Haddish's film.
Oh, yeah.
And
I heard it's really good.
It was nice. And there was a moment where at the end, I don't want to give a spoiler away, but they kind of high five and say, we did it. They have a moment where they're like, we did it. And one of the characters is like, okay, you have to stop doing that every single week. And it hit me. I go, Maria, we never had that moment.
Wow.
We never took time to say we did it, ever. Like 2 kids out of a basement, everything against us, lives being threatened, and we did it. But we never took that. We were never present enough to go, wow, look at what we did. It was always like, got to get more, not doing it. We still were in that fight mindset. And that is another mistake that we made. And last night I had a really nice reset with my hosts. It was Brianna, Roxy, and Steven, a very sweet moment. And if you've ever seen It's a Wonderful Life, there's a moment where George Bailey's like rich friend comes back to visit him, and he's in a limo and all that. And you just see George, just great director, capper. All he does is kick a car door closed, but you can see he's just frustrated, because he's always the good guy, and he's always grinding. And there's a couple other companies out there now that are worth, similar AfterBuzz, that are worth like $500 million. And then there's another small company we know, and all the person does who owns it is just swindle and cheat and just continues to ascend. And I was really down, and Roxy had said, like, but Kevin, like, do you understand? In the last 10 years, all the lives we've changed. She's like, just last week, a mailman heard one of our podcasts on acting, quit his job as a mailman somewhere deep down the South, and now he's out in Hollywood, and he reached out to the host of the show, and now they've got him in their theater group, and like, it's changing the whole guy's life.
So
it's
cool.
Like, and that's like, those are the macro transactions, but our micro ones where we work with the kids, and basically, they were saying to me, like, but that's the success. And stop looking at the financial part of this and look at that. And I was like, yeah, you're right. And I need to be present and go, you know what? Hey, we're doing it. And we've been so successful helping all these people. And like, just got to keep doing it. And like, let's pat ourselves on the back and smile and enjoy that. And I think that's one thing that's really hard during it all. And I read something yesterday. I was putting together Steph, we're working on that other project, and there was something about financing that they were talking about the psychology behind how we're kind of programmed as kids about money. So we're programmed, it's like, I spend money on candy, video games, clothes, yay, and I feel pleasure, which is what we're wired toward. But then when I put it in the bank, it's pain, because I can only take it out of that bank to buy the things to give me pleasure. So now we associate savings with pain and, consumerism with pleasure. Now, why does this apply to what I'm saying? They're saying to retrain your brain to make it so there's pleasure to put in the banks. And I'm saying with this, retrain your brain from, the pleasure's going to come when I crush it in my business. And now this part is the pain. Retrain your brain to be like, this journey is the pleasure. We're having fun doing this. This is great.
Yeah.
And that's for me too, guys. It's not me. I'm not on some like cliff here lecturing all of you because these are the things that I'm learning and I'm trying to do. So, and the self-help podcasts, maybe you have a certain amount of podcasts that are for your business, and then I want a certain amount for your mental well-being and your physical well-being, because you got to keep, because at the end of the day, it's your body and your mind which is going to make all this happen. And that's it for now, Stephanie Sabra.
So good, Kev. I'm ready to conquer my dreams.
Yeah, well, you know what? And again, if you don't have these dreams, it's okay.
Yeah.
Then root for the people who do, and just be great in your daily lives as managers, as parents, as children, and then be decent in your microtransactions.
Absolutely.
And like I said, root for those other people, that are out there doing it. I love it. I really get sad when I see evil people. That bothers me. But when I see good people make it, I am just so, my heart just swims, with joy. And listen, you guys, this isn't a plug for me, honestly, because I don't get energy off that, but I do get energy off people who are fighting for their dreams. So you can always reach out to me at Undergaro, or is it at Steph Sabra?
Yeah, but
or the show.
You are the Hollywood Career Coach, and thank you guys so much for being a part of our Patreon. We'll be back next week, but we will have a brand new episode of Better Together on Monday, and Kevin will be with us again, so it'll be really exciting. And Maria's killing it in Miami, but we miss her dearly.
Slaying
Slaying
Slay Queen.
Until next time.
All right, bye.
Bye.